Today we're going to talk about whether or not you should really retire at age 62. A lot of you got excited because of the vlog that I presented a while back, sometime earlier this year or maybe even last year. I can't recall. And I said that you may want to consider retiring at an earlier age rather than later. And I started at 62 because that is the minimum age at which you can retire. But there are other things you will need to think about before you jump into it. That's what we'll talk about. Stay with me. I earlier suggested that you should consider retiring earlier rather than later. But earlier does not necessarily mean 62. It could be 65, 67, whatever your full retirement age is. Now, financially speaking, I would refer you to that vlog, and I'm going to put a link down below for those people who have not seen it yet. It makes more financial sense to retire earlier, although your benefit is growing year after year that you do not retire, that you wait for later retirement years or retirement age. There's a lot of money that you are foregoing if you collect earlier. For example, if you retire at 62 versus 65 or 67, let's say, that's 5 years of what you would have collected every month. And that's a lot of money. So at age 67, you will get more money compared to age 62, but that incremental difference, if you divide the total amount that you have forgone, that you have let go, by that incremental benefit you will get, you will be old, maybe 78, 80 years old by the time you break even. Then what if you die soon? There's more to life than money. But there are things that need to be considered, and that's what we'll discuss today. So let's begin. First, I have a good news for 2022. My first comment is, many commented on my earlier vlog regarding retirement at 62 that we should take into account inflation. This is not necessary because both the present cost of living, your cost of living today, and your SS benefit, Social Security benefit, will automatically be adjusted for inflation. So to the extent your living cost is this and your benefit is this, as it goes up, this benefit also goes up. That's why I said it's not necessary for you to adjust it for inflation. Now, obviously, inflation differs from one person to another because inflation is just an overall index taking into account the cost of gasoline, the cost of real estate, the cost of food, etc., etc. So for some people, inflation may be 1%, and for other people, it may be 10%. So that is just a guideline, but nothing is exact here. Now, here is an example, which is a good news. In 2022, seniors are going to get the largest COLA, that's cost of living allowance, in 40 years, and we'll see 5.9% boost in benefit. Wow. In the past so many years, you have been getting 0.9%, maybe 1%, maybe 1.1%, maybe even much less than 1%. Very low inflation. But now as inflation is escalating, we're going to get close to 6% in year 2022. So this means an average Social Security benefit, this is average, among all retired workers will increase from 1.5 in 2021 to 1.6 in 2022, or $92 per month, $1,100 for a year. That's how much you will get. Now, this is just average. Some of you will get much less than 1,005 and some of you will get much more than 1,005. That's just an average. Retirees shouldn't be too excited about it because the increase is so large as a direct result of high inflation. So much of that $92 may be spent, maybe even more. So you have to watch out. and make sure that you're budgeting carefully to account for the extra cost you'll incur due to rising prices, so they make the most of their larger check. Now, before you make a decision, there are advantages to taking your benefit before your full retirement age, as I mentioned earlier. The advantage is that you collect benefits for a longer time period. So let's say you will die at age 70. If you're collecting from age 62 to 70, that will be better than if you're collecting starting at age 67 to 70. You're only left with 3 years compared to, 7 or 8 years. So that is the advantage of collecting the benefit. Now, the drawback, the disadvantage, is your benefit will be reduced. What you will receive now will not be as large as what you will receive if you retire later. And some people are attracted to that. Oh, gee, if I wait, I could collect more. If I wait, I could collect more. By the time you know it, you're dead. You're not able to collect, or you are not able to collect as much as you thought you will collect. Each person's situation is different, so it's important to remember this. If you delay your benefit until full retirement age, you will be eligible for delayed retirement credit that would increase your monthly benefit. Now, that is the subject matter of my earlier vlog. I showed the financial calculation on how many years it would take for you to break even in order to recoup the benefit that you failed to collect because you waited for later retirement date. Now, there are other things, non-financial, that you have to consider when making a decision about when to begin retiring your retirement benefit. If you decide to delay your benefit until age 65, this is very important. You should still apply for Medicare benefit Part B and D within 3 months of your 65th birthday. Now, if you retire at 62, you stop working, that is, and you're, let's say, getting your medical insurance from your employer, whether you're paying or not, that's not relevant, but at least you have insurance. If you retire at 62, do you have a continued benefit of having that insurance? You'll have to look into that, because Medicare is completely different from Social Security. Medicare does not kick in until age 65. So if you're not too lucky, when you retire at 62, you'll be without insurance, or you buy your own private insurance, which is very expensive. So what you perceive you will benefit from in collecting Social Security may get depleted very quickly because you have to pay for medical insurance, or at least significantly because of that. Now, why did I say you have to apply within 3 months of your 65th birthday? First of all, when you retire, not when you retire, but at age 65, nothing to do with retirement now, at age 65, Medicare Part A kicks in automatically. And what is Part A? Part A will pay for your hospitalization. Nothing more, just hospitalization. Hospital, not including doctor's fees, only the hospital charges. Part B will cover you for doctor's fees. And Part D will cover your prescription drugs. Okay, Part A, hospital, B, doctors, D, prescription drugs. Now, if you wait for you to get covered for Part B until later than 3 months from the time you hit the age of 65, your premium could go up. And it will not only go up for 1 year, it will go up for the rest of your life. So let's say your premium, if you retire at 62, is, let's just say, this is an example, okay? Let's say $150. And let's say you waited until 6 months or even a year later. And let's say it turns out to be that you will now be paying, instead of $150, let's say $200. You'll be paying $2 or $250. You'll be paying that for the rest of your life. That is just an example. It may be a little high, but that's just an example. So that's why it's very important for you to make a decision within 3 months from age 65. So if you wait longer, your Medicare insurance Part B and prescription drug Part D may cost you more money. Now, not only that, in spite of you being covered for hospitalization, prescription drugs and all, you'll only covered for 80%. Medicare will only cover you for 80%. So you have to get insurance to cover you for the gap, for the difference, the 20%, okay? Which you can get either by buying a supplemental insurance or getting an Advantage plan, where in the Advantage plan they will kick out Medicare and say, get out of here, from now on we will take care of this patient's insurance. And for that, Medicare will pay them, the insurance company, the premium, whether you get sick or not. That money goes to the insurance company. But if you get sick and it costs you $1 million, Medicare is out. It's the supplemental insurance company who will carry the burden. That's also covered in another vlog, the difference between supplemental and Advantage. Okay? Now, if you retire before age 65, you have to have source of medical insurance, since Medicare will not kick in until you are age 65. This could be very expensive and could significantly reduce the SS benefit you will receive. For example, you may not have to worry about this if your spouse is still working and you could be covered on his or her policy. In that case, maybe you can retire and consider this. But then consider what you will pay the supplemental or the Advantage plan and compare it to what you would pay if you hook up with your wife's or husband's private policy from the employer. Other things to consider. If you wish to continue receiving Social Security benefit but reside abroad during retirement, you must research and carefully choose the location of retirement, as the Social Security Administration may not continue making payments to certain foreign jurisdictions. I need to throw this in because many people are watching my vlog who are not Filipinos or not from the Philippines or going to the Philippines. How long the residency abroad continues for, the location, and whether there are Social Security agreement with the said country all play a role in the determination. Seek professional advice. My understanding is that Social Security will send you the check in the Philippines or somehow will give you the money in the Philippines, and I think you have to apply at the U.S. Embassy. Or maybe there is a Social Security office in the Philippines. But if I were you, just to be sure, I would have this discussion at the local Social Security office in the United States before going to the Philippines. But be careful, because not everybody at the office knows about this. And they will tell you, oh no, we don't pay anything overseas. It happened to me, okay? So research the internet. Have a piece of paper that says you're qualified. So if they say, when you meet with them, they say, no, you're not covered, show them this thing. How do you explain this one? Okay? Now, some people may decide to work longer. When one of the two couple are working, they earn their own Social Security credit. Time will come when one will pass away. The surviving spouse will only receive the higher of the two SS benefits. So, I have been working, my wife has been working, I'm earning my credits, my wife has been earning her credit. We retire, I get paid for mine, my wife gets paid for hers. But if one of us dies, the surviving spouse will receive the higher of the two benefits. And because of that, thus the spouse making more money may want to work longer to accumulate more credit and increase the possible collectible amount when one spouse passes away. So, if the husband is making more money than the wife, if he continues to work, the wife will continue to get that increased benefit. But if your wife continues to work and she passes away and you're making more, all that will happen is you will continue to get your benefit, so there is no benefit to her working any longer than necessary. Now, have you heard of windfall elimination provision? Now, some people ask me, gee, I'm also receiving GSIS or pension benefit in the Philippines or another employer. Would that affect my SS? Yes, it will. U.S. Social Security benefit is reduced if you're receiving foreign Social Security payments or private pension payments. Generally, okay, and this is just generally, the U.S. benefit is reduced by $50 for every $100 of foreign pension. So if you're receiving let's say $500 in pension in the Philippines, let's say GSIS, your Social Security will be reduced to $250. Okay? However, the actual reduction depends on the amount of wages and time spent working while not participating in the system, meaning in the Social Security system. The provision also applies to individuals who held jobs that generally do not participate in U.S. Social Security, such as jobs in the private sector. So if you're working in the Philippines, if you are working in the Philippines, obviously you will not be subject to Social Security tax. So when you start receiving that payment, then your Social Security will be affected by this. So check with the Social Security office again regarding this. First of all, let me say this. Once you are at full retirement age, you don't have to bother about this. You can make as much money as you want. It will not affect your Social Security at full retirement age. So now let's talk about the exception. If it's before your full retirement age, you will be allowed to make up to $18,960 before forfeiting $1 for every $2 of excess earnings. For example, if you made $19,960, so you made $1,000 more than what you're allowed, $500 will be reduced. Okay? That's 1/2 of 500. Now, in 2022, that amount of $18,960 goes up to $19,560. So every year this thing changes, it keeps on going up. Now, for those who will be hitting the full retirement age only during that year, okay? Because obviously, if you hit full retirement age on June, let's say, halfway, you're still working. So you will make more than $18,960, let's say. So they increase that. They will allow you for that year that you hit full retirement age, $50,520 in 2021, after which the benefit will be reduced $1 for every $3 of extra earning. On the previous one, $1 for every $2. Over here, higher limit. That means you can work up to $50,520 and you will not be penalized. But if you exceed $50,520, they will reduce it by $1 for every $3 in excess of $50,520. Understood? Now, this is going up to $51,960 in 2022. Again, all these numbers change every year. Now, how about working outside the United States? If you retire and work outside the United States, the rules are different. Keep in mind that if you are a citizen or a permanent resident of the United States, you may still be required to file a tax return. But if your only income or earning is Social Security, you will not be required because you will not hit the income threshold required for you to be required to file a tax return. So they will have the information. If you retire and work outside the United States, the rules are different. If you are younger than full retirement age, before full retirement age, Social Security will reduce your benefits for every month you work more than 45 hours on the job or self-employment that's not subject to U.S. Social Security tax. Because when you're abroad, so it's not subject to Social Security. That applies regardless of how much money you earn. These rules can get complicated, so you want to contact Social Security for advice on your particular situation. So don't ask me about that. It's enough for me to tell you that if you work more than 45 hours, better check with Social Security. Okay? Now, tax matters to consider. By the way, people ask me before also, gee, is our income in the Philippines subject to tax? I heard that there's like $100,000 or $150,000 of exclusion that you don't have to declare. That's only on earned income. So if you're working as an employee, yes, that is true. The first 180 or 150,000, you don't have to report. But if you are self-employed, or if you have other businesses or investments, real estate, things like that, you'll be subject to tax. No such thing as an exclusion there. Now, retirees who have little income other than Social Security won't be taxed on their benefit. In fact, you may not even have to file a return. So if the only thing you're getting is Social Security, you don't even have to worry about filing a tax return. Now, up to 50% of your Social Security income is taxable for individuals with total gross income, including Social Security, of $25,000, or if you're husband and wife, couples filing jointly, combined gross income of $32,000. That is including the Social Security benefit that you're getting. So you take your Social Security benefit plus the other income. If you make $25,000, 50% of Social Security is most likely going to be taxable. And if you're a couple, your gross income combined is $32,000. Higher than that, it'll be taxable. Then, that's 50% on those. If your income goes up to $34,000, 85% of your Social Security could be taxable. Or if your combined gross income is $44,000 for a joint filer, 85% of your Social Security could be taxable. I'm just giving you a rough idea here. You want to know precisely what's going to hit you, check with your tax accountant. Or if you want, you can play What If on Turbotax. There is a free Turbotax. Look at the internet. Get Turbotax and then plug the numbers in and see if it comes, what comes out of it. Your focus should be on paying less overall taxes on your combined income. You're retired, okay? So you don't want to be paying taxes if you can avoid it. But if you need to work because either you're getting bored or you just need more money to survive, then you have to work. But you need to know the consequences of that. A tax-advantaged retirement account like Roth IRA can help. Now, this is only for people who are still far from retirement. If you're already retired or getting retired in a year or two, forget about Roth. Spousal benefit. By the way, I also have another vlog on Roth IRA. Now, spousal benefit. Working spouse must first file for the benefit. So if the husband was working and the wife, let's say the husband is retirement age and the wife wants to be able to collect also, the working spouse must first file. So he must retire and file. The worker's spouse or working spouse may be eligible for a benefit based on worker's earnings. So how much you will receive, the spouse, will depend on the working spouse's earnings. Another requirement is that spouse must be at least 62. That means if you're young, let's say I'm 62 and I can retire and you're only 18 years old. Wow. Okay, you cannot collect spousal benefit. You have to be 62 as well. A qualifying child must be under 16. So child is also going to qualify, must be under 16 to receive Social Security or disability benefit. If he's receiving disability benefit, even if he's older than 16, yep, he'll be able to get he will qualify as a in the so-called spousal benefit. The spousal benefit can be as much as half of the worker's primary insurance amount, meaning Social Security benefit, depending on the spouse's age at retirement. So, how much he will get, that depends on the age requirement, on how much income he was earning, how much money he was contributing to Social Security, and you will get approximately 50% of that. If the spouse begins receiving benefit before normal or full retirement age, the spouse will receive a reduced benefit. Obviously, the working spouse's benefit will be reduced. Same thing with the spousal benefit, that will be reduced as well. However, if a spouse is caring for a qualifying child, meaning under 16 or over 16 but with disability, the spousal benefit is not reduced. Okay. If spouse is eligible for a retirement benefit based on his or her own earnings, and if the benefit is higher than the spousal benefit, then retirement benefit is paid. Otherwise, spousal benefit is paid. An example to that is, let's say my benefit is 1,005. Let's say my wife's benefit is only 500. So instead of her collecting her 500 based on her own work credit, she would qualify for one half of what I'm getting as a spousal benefit, 750. So that will get paid. But if she's making $1,000, there will not be any spousal benefit for her. She will get her 1,000, I will get my 1,005. Then when one of us dies, whether it's me or her, the higher amount, 1,005, will continue to get paid. The other amount being paid will be stopped. So that's all I have for today. I hope that's not too much to digest. I would recommend that you just watch the video again. If it is not too clear, pause and try to digest everything that I mentioned here. A lot of it probably will not apply to you. You're not working, you're not going overseas, you don't have children, etc., etc. You can just ignore those, but try to detect what might apply to you and just listen to it again. Okay, this will avoid all the questions that are already covered in the video. So I'll appreciate it if you click like on this video, and do share this with other people who might be or will be of interest, and make it a great day, and God bless. Please do subscribe to my channel unless you have already done so. Goodbye.